So for this video you're going to need a chair and a couple of big cushions, or not big cushions, but just cushions, maybe 2 or 3 to bolster you up a little bit. So grab whatever you've got on your couch or on your bed, and we'll use those a little bit later. So we're going to start with the chair, and we're going to start seated. So just come to a seated position on your chair. And just want you to do just a little bit of a spine twist. So you're just twisting side to side. And then there's 2 types of twist. One is called an active twist and one is a passive twist. So an active twist is where you use the muscles of your body to twist. So it's a working twist, as opposed to using maybe your arms and holding onto the chair and twisting that way. So active versus passive, and it's kind of nice to put them both together, and we'll be doing that a little bit. So just do a few more little twists here to each side. So we're just getting everything moving first. And then we're going to have a look at our pelvic tilt. So can you tilt your pelvis forwards and backwards here? And we want to try and come to that point at which your pelvis is in a neutral position. So check where your hip bones are, check where your pubic bone is, and you don't want to have one forwards of the other. They kind of want to be on that same plane, so you're sitting onto your sit bones. And then once you've got that, let's just do a couple of twists there, just seeing does it feel any different now. And then we're going to have a think about our rib cage position, because in order to twist the body effectively, everything needs to be in really good alignment. So if you have a rib cage that's out of alignment and your rib cage is lifted forwards, then you're not getting a true twist. So we want to drop the rib cage down. See if you can find the bottom of your rib cage and make sure that it's level with your pelvis. Yeah. So you shouldn't actually be able to feel those lowest ribs, because they should be almost like tucked in a little bit. But rib cage and pelvis are level. And again, we've got that neutral pelvis, so we've got the rib cage and the pelvis in neutral. And then do your twist. So let's kind of put the active twist and the passive twist together. So rib cage, pelvis in neutral. We're going to twist as far as we can under our own steam. So how far can you twist using the muscles of your torso? And then let your arms come down and give yourself just a little bit more of a twist. Come back through centre. Again, make sure that we're in that neutral position. Twist using the strength of your own muscles, and then a little bit of that passive twist. You can use your chair, you can use your leg. A couple more to each side. And we're going to keep doing that, but what I want you to think about now, always more to think about, is what's happening with your knees. So notice as you twist, does one of your knees come forwards of the other? Yeah, which would be an indication that your pelvis is shifting. So we've got our feet and our knees about hip width apart, because that's kind of where we always need to be with our alignment. So just have a little check at that. Rib cage and pelvis in neutral, and then do your active twist. Let your arms come down to give you that little bit more of a passive twist, and then just turn your head and have a little look. Has anything changed with your knees? Has one gone forward? Has one kind of dropped in? Can you keep your knees where they should be? And let's do the same to the other side. Again, how are those knees? Have they shifted? And come back in through centre. So it's getting all of the pieces in the right place, because in order to effect any change in the body, we kind of have to put it on a grid, and then we know how each part is moving. So that's our pelvis and our rib cage in alignment. So we need to think about our head now. And quite often people will have their head forwards, and they'll do their twist and their head is forwards, and we've got that chin poke, and we're reinforcing that rounded posture. So we want to do our head ramp here as well. So let's get ribs down, pelvis in neutral, and then let's bring the head back. So ramp your head, bringing your chin back so that your ears are over your shoulder, and then you're going to twist as far as you can. Then let your arms come down and do that little twist. So we've added the head ramp now, so we've got the chin back, ears are over our shoulders, ribs and pelvis in that neutral position, and again we're going to twist. You can use your arms to see if you can twist a little bit more, and then again check that you've not allowed your chin to poke forwards, and you ramp your head up, and then you can turn your head to get a little bit more as well here, but keep that head ramp. Come back in through centre. And let's twist to the other side. And check that head ramp, and you can let your head turn, but you're just not letting it poke forwards. And come back in through centre. Do one more on each side. Just giving you that little bit of a double chin. But that's okay. So we need to think about having all of our pieces in alignment in order to be able to get an effective twist of our body. And in order for everything to be in alignment, often we have to release areas and release tension. And sometimes we need to bolster ourselves to do that. So if you find it hard to find that neutral pelvis in a seated position, you can always grab some cushions to sit on some cushions to allow you to find a more neutral pelvis. So just remember, with any of the movements that we do, you can bolster yourself at any time. Feel free to grab cushions or bolsters or do what you need to do to make the movements accessible for you. We're going to come down onto the floor next. Onto hands and knees now, fingers spread wide, thumbs point towards each other and elbow pits are forwards. And we're going to pick up one arm at a time away from the mat. And the way that we're going to do that is by picking up one side of the rib cage at a time. So we're doing a little bit of a twist here in order to lift the arm away. So notice that you aren't bending your arm to lift it away, and that you aren't pulling your shoulder blade back. We want the whole of the rib cage to twist. Yeah? So as you lift your arm away, it's a twist rather than a shoulder blade coming in towards the centre. So let's do a few of those on each side. And then we're going to move that down to our lower body. So you're going to lift one knee at a time. And again, the movement that we are using to lift away from the mat is that twist through your lower body now. So you're twisting through your pelvis. And sometimes you just need to play around with the movement a little bit to just get it right, because often your body will do other movements in order to find that. So you might find that you're wanting to kind of just bend your knee to get it away. Watch that you aren't kind of rounding your back as well. You want to try and find a neutral pelvis. So think about your hip bones pointing down towards the mat, and then just come off your wrists for a moment and give your wrists just a little shake out, and just do a few circles in each direction. Just give them a little break. I'm going to do that again, and what I want you to pay attention to this time is ramping your head up. So we're going to think about bringing the chin back and ears in line with shoulders, and then we're going to think about where is our rib cage at, and make sure that we're not hanging the rib cage down towards the floor. And then again, noticing what's happening with your pelvis and not allowing it to tilt excessively in either direction. So come back onto all fours again. Fingers spread wide, elbow pits are forwards. Okay, so let's think head ramp first. So you're going to pick your head up. And I often think about more, you know, the little bump at the base of your neck, your C7 here. So you kind of pick that up, lifting that towards the ceiling. And then make sure that you haven't dropped your rib cage down. So pick the rib cage up. And then again, finding that neutral pelvis. So it's not tucking under and it's not dropping excessively the other way. We're kind of just in the middle. And once you've got all of those pieces in place, again, can you do the arms a couple of times? And can you do your legs a couple of times? Okay, how about now, with all of those pieces in place, can you do opposite hand, opposite knee? So keep going, and in effect what you're doing there is you're twisting your rib cage one way and twisting your pelvis the other way, so you're getting a real twist through your centre. It's a lot of work for your abdominals, and again we want to make sure that everything's in place, so ramp the head, ribs are pulled in, pelvis neutral, and then get that twist. So just do a couple more there, just kind of playing with that. And again, it's a movement that you need to play with in order for it to feel right and for you to get all of the pieces in the right place. So come off your wrists again and just give your wrists a little twirl around, maybe give your arms a little shake. And I'm going to come down onto our forearms, so come down to your elbows. And I'm going to bring one hand through the other, bring your shoulder down towards the mat, and allow yourself to rest your head down if that feels good to you. But you're still holding yourself on your elbows, you've not just kind of dropped and slumped everything down. So holding yourself on your elbows. I'm going to do the same on the other side. So bring your arm through, holding yourself on your elbows. Check in, make sure that you've not let your ribs drop, so keep those ribs pulled in. And then come back through centre and just come on up. Okay, we're going to lie down on our back now for a spine twist. So come down onto your back. Okay, and then we'll do the same side together. So shift your hips a little bit to the left, and then we're going to straighten out the right leg and bring your left leg into a tabletop position. Now notice here, if your ribs are lifted, if you need something under your head, feel free to pop something under your head, that's fine. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use our oblique muscles, so the muscles around the waist, to lift this hip away from the floor. So can you use those muscles to lift that way? So we're not going to go all the way over, we're just going to place the hip back down and lift it up again. Can you keep your rib cage down? And try and lift and lower that hip away from the floor. So it's as though we're going to go all the way over, but we're just practicing the first part, which is the lift. So again, we're getting that twist through our waist. A couple more. And then we're going to do the same on the other side. So shift your hips to the right this time. You're going to straighten out your left leg, bring your right leg into tabletop. Again, make sure those ribs are down, and can you use the muscles of your waist and those obliques to lift the hip away from the ground and then bring it back down. So you might feel like you're not going very far, or there's not very much movement. You might be struggling to kind of initiate that movement using these muscles, and that's okay, just keep playing with it. Again, letting your body figure out what it is you're asking for it to do, and then just come back into centre, bring your knees to your chest and give your knees a little hug. So often when we do the spine twist and we bring our knee all the way down to the floor, it's a passive movement, because what we often do is we bring the knee up, we bring that knee across, and we're using the weight of the leg to pull everything over. So it's the gravity and the weight of the leg that's pulling you into position, rather than an active twist where we're using the muscles of the waist and of the core to bring us there. Okay, so, and in order to be able to do that, you've got to have some flexibility and some suppleness of your waist, and that's obviously what we're working on. So I want you to grab yourself some cushions now, some pillows, whatever you've got, and we're going to pop them. You need a couple, and we're going to pop them down one side of our body. So they're going to go down, I'm going to put mine down the right side of my body. So it's going to put me onto a little bit of an angle. So I'm going to lie down again. So I've kind of got them under my right cheek and my right shoulder. So my body is tipped to the left now. And then I'm going to bend my right leg, left leg is out long, and again I'm going to try and use those obliques to lift. Now I don't have to go as far this time because I'm already slightly tilted, so it's just allowing you to find that movement a little bit more easily. So again, play around with that, initiating from your waist to lift that leg across and then lowering it down. So even though we've got our body at that angle, you can still keep your ribs down, and we're still trying to keep the twist at the waist and not allow your whole body to roll. So let's do that on the other side. So just move your cushions to the other side. You could use a bolster, whatever you've got handy. Cushions are normally easy because you can drag them off your couch or whatever. And then same on the other side. So you're allowing your body to be lifted on one side. Now straighten out the right leg, bring that left leg into that tabletop position. And again, keeping your ribs down, it's a little bit easier, maybe, to find that initial movement. So it's just about playing with that and focusing on what am I using to bring that hip across. Am I using the weight of this leg, or am I using the muscles around my waist? Okay, and then come on up. So that's to help increase the flexibility and the suppleness of your waist. So it's good to use the cushions or the bolsters just to help you in the beginning to kind of find that, but eventually you'll be able to do it without using those. But I don't want you to, again, go beyond your boundary and try and do it and not be able to do it, so then compensate by using other muscles. So do use these for a while, and as long as you can feel that you're working, then it's fine to keep using these. I tend to do it using these. I did it first without them just to show you the movement that we're looking for, but you probably will get there much more effectively using some kind of bolster. So let's go back into our forearm thread the needle. So move your cushions out of the way and come back onto your forearms. And again, let's bring one arm through and twist around. Getting a big stretch through your shoulders and your upper back. A few breaths. And same on the other side. So coming back through. So from here, we're going to go into a bit of a downward facing dog, a yoga position. So bring your hands to about shoulder width apart. Again, we want the fingers spread, elbow pits are forwards, tuck your toes under, and then you're going to lift your bottom towards the ceiling. So you're going to push back with your arms, and let's just do a little pedal of the feet here. So bending each knee in turn, and try to stick your bottom up towards the ceiling. So notice if it's really kind of rounded, and can you untuck your tailbone and stick your bottom up towards the ceiling. Watch your ribs, keep those ribs pulled in. Okay, now feel free to just kind of stay here in this downward dog, but if you feel okay, can you lift one leg? You can keep that other leg a little bit bent if you want to, and then lower that leg down. Can you lift the other leg? Again, you can keep a little bend, or you can have that leg straight. Don't worry if your heel doesn't come down to the floor, and then bring that leg back down, come back down onto your knees, and come on off your wrists, and give your hands and wrists a little break. You can shake them out. Okay, we're going to come up into that position again, and we're going to add a little bit more onto it this time. So if you are finding it enough work just to be in that downward dog position, stay there. If you then want to just add the leg lift, stay there. And if you feel quite happy with it and you're used to doing these kind of movements, you can add on the next piece as well. So back onto your hands and knees, fingers spread wide, elbow pits are forwards, tuck your toes under, and again lift your bottom towards the ceiling. Untuck your tailbone, and again you can either pedal, you can hold here. We're going to lift one leg, and then we're going to bend the knee, and then can you hitch that hip up? So we're doing a little bit of a twist through the pelvis. Checking with the ribs, keep those ribs pulled in. Don't go too far, you'll lose your balance. And I'm going to bring that leg back in and place that leg down. Let's do the same on the other side. Lift the leg, bend the leg, and then can you hitch that hip up? And again, get that twist through your lower body. Notice what's happening with your rib cage. Can you twist your rib cage back down towards the mat and your pelvis away from the mat? And then come back in, place your leg down, then paddle through your feet, bend in the knees, and then come down onto your knees and come on off your wrists and give your wrists a little twirl around. That's a little variation on your downward facing dog, which is a yoga pose, but also it's good to get that twist in a completely different position. So feel free to build yourself up to that. Don't feel that you have to do that if you don't feel ready for it, if you're not happy with your shoulders and things there. There's plenty of other ways that you can get your twist in without adding the downward facing dog. Okay, let's go into child's pose now. So bring your hands down onto the floor, take your bottom back towards your heels and just stretch here. Take some deep breaths. And then come on up to seated. So just find a comfortable position that you can sit in for just a few moments, and I want you to focus on your breath. So bring your hands to your rib cage, and can you take a really deep breath and then fully exhale. Again, really deep breath and fully exhale. Breathe into your hands. Try and get your rib cage to really expand here. And then come back down. Let's just do two more, really working on moving your rib cage. Okay. So we're going to do a little twist now. If you need to bolster yourself to find that neutral pelvis, if you need to sit on a cushion to help you find that lift, then do. So we want the ribs relaxing down, pelvis in a neutral position, and ramp your head up. We're going to twist to one side. So again, active twist, so twist in under your own steam as far as you can go. Then let your hands come down to give you just maybe a little bit more twist. Check in with the head. Now hold in this position. Can you take a really deep breath in here? And exhale. Again, same thing, really deep breath. And fully exhale. One more deep breath here. And then exhale. Come back in through centre and do the same on the other side. So check your alignment again. Active twist as far as you can go. Use your arms to give you perhaps just a little bit more twist. Check that you've not lost that head position. And some deep breaths here, really big breath in. Fully exhale. Two more like that. Just go at your own speed. Notice. Is it more difficult to breathe here? And come back in through centre. Okay, so we're going to go to we're going to go back onto our chair now. So grab your chair again, and we've got some fun. We're back onto our chair, and we're going to do some squats here now. We're just going to do some chair squats, and the point of this is to get you a little bit out of breath, is to get your heart rate up a little bit so that you are having to take deeper breaths. So we're going to do about 20, maybe 30, depending on how quickly you can go. So sit towards the edge of your chair, have your feet and knees about hip width apart, don't have them too close to you, and you're going to push into your heels and come up to stand, and then sit back down. Okay, and we're going to do a few of those. If you're on a wooden floor like me, it might be worth checking that your chair isn't going to slide and maybe popping in against the wall. You can do this on a couch, you can do this on a kitchen chair, you can just do squats freestanding if you don't have a chair available. Are you ready? Let's go. So stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down. You don't have to sit fully down, you can just tap your bottom down onto your chair. Keep going. Number 10, we've got 10 more to go, keep going. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sit down, get all of your alignment points and twist as far as you can one way. Use your arms to give you a little bit more of a passive stretch. Hold, breathe. Back through centre, check your alignment, twist the other way. Breathe. Twist back to the first side. And then go back to your second side. Come back into centre and rest, and hopefully you're getting your breath back a little bit. So what I was trying to get you to do there is to get your heart rate up and get your breath. What I was trying to do there is get your heart rate up and make you need to breathe more deeply. I couldn't think what I wanted to say then. So what happens is when you get a little bit out of breath, your body does what it needs to do in order to get enough oxygen in. And when you're in that twisted position, it's more difficult for your body to take a deep breath and to get that breath in. So the force of you having to get that breath in is going to override anything else. It's going to kind of go beyond any tension that you hold there because your body's need for oxygen is greater. So by getting you a little bit out of breath, making your body reflexively take in more oxygen is going to move things a little bit more. Okay, so that's kind of a nice thing to play with. Don't go to the point of collapse, but get yourself a little bit out of breath, twist and allow your breath to move those bones, to move your rib cage, to get a full breath in there. And again, it's going to really help to increase the flexibility and the suppleness of your waist. We're going to come back down onto the floor now. We're going to go to hands and knees again. Okay. So we're going to come back down onto the floor. We're going to do rhomboid push-ups, fingers spread wide, thumbs point towards each other and elbow pits are forward. Find that nice neutral position, ribs in, head ramped, and let's do our rhomboid push-ups here. So shoulder blades come together as your chest drops down towards the mat and then presses wide. Keep thinking about that head ramp, ribs are in, pelvis is neutral. We're going to go back to our downward facing dog again. So elbow pits are forwards, tuck your toes under and lift your bottom up towards the ceiling again. Little pedal. If you're happy, lift one leg, bend the knee and hitch that hip up higher. A little bit of a twist. Twisting your rib cage back down to where it belongs, twisting your pelvis in the opposite direction. And then bringing that leg back down. Let's do the same on the other side. Lift the leg, bend, and hitch your hip up. Twisting your pelvis one way, twisting your ribs back the other way. And come back down, and back down onto your knees. And give your wrists a little twirl. Okay, and I'll let you Get your breath back now. So coming back down onto your mat again, we're going to do our spine twist again. Now it's up to you whether you want to use your bolster yourself up on one side again with your big cushions, or whether you want to try it without. And it's good to do both. So lie yourself down. You're going to shift your hips to one side, the side that your cushions are at if you're using your cushions, and then you're going to straighten your other leg out. Bring your leg into that tabletop position, get your ribs relaxed down, and then again, can you use your oblique muscles, can you use the muscles around your waist to lift that hip away from the floor? And you're just doing some little gentle movements there again. And if you're struggling to get started, get those cushions. And let's switch and do the same on the other side. Again, try and keep the back of your rib cage down, and the movement is just around your waist. And even if you only lift a centimetre using your abdominals, that's amazing. A lot of people don't have any movement there at all, so anything is good, and then you can build from there. Alright, come back into centre, get rid of any bolsters, any cushions that you've got, bring your knees into your chest and just rock gently side to side. Bring your feet back down onto the floor, bring feet and knees together, take your arms out to the side, palms face up, roll chest and shoulders open, take a breath. As you exhale, passive, we're going to allow your knees to roll to one side. Still try and keep your rib cage down. Inhale as you come to centre, and exhale over to the other side. So just keep going with the speed of your breath. We're using this just as a little bit of a release, a little bit of a relaxation now. And hopefully you can feel that it is more passive. You're kind of using the weight of your legs and gravity in order to effect the move, rather than really thinking about initiating with your waist. And you can use that for both. You can use this movement for both. But for now we're just releasing and relaxing. And we're going to straighten out those legs, reach your arms overhead. We're going to go into our crescent stretch now, just to give the waist a good stretch out. Walk your legs to the right. Walk your arms and upper body also to the right. Stay here if you wish, or you can cross your left ankle over your right. With your right hand, grab your left wrist, just give it a little bit of a pull. And take some deep breaths, breathing into the left side of your rib cage, feeling the stretch through your waist. Notice here if there is any tendency to rib thrust, and if there is, you can pop a bolster under your head here. You can always have a cushion here to help bring those ribs down and help you find good alignment. I'm going to release the arms, walk your legs back in through centre and over to the other side. Arms up and overhead, and then arms and upper body also to the other side. So you can hold here, or cross your right ankle over your left, and with your left hand grab your right wrist, just give it a little pull. Take some deep breaths here. When you're ready, walk yourself back into centre, bending your knees, bring them into your chest one at a time, and then just rock gently side to side. When you're ready, come on up to seated. Just take a moment to find a position that works for you. Remember, cushion if you need one. And then head ramp, so bringing that chin back, find length through the back of the neck and ears are over shoulders. Ribs are relaxed down. Pelvis is in that neutral position, so we're in really good alignment. And then we're going to do a twist to the side. So active, twist to the side as far as you can go. Let your hands come down to give you just a little bit more twist. Make sure you've not lost that head position. And then come back through centre. And again, can you twist? Let your hands come down, give you just a little bit more twist. Check your head. We're just going to do one more time to each side. And come back into centre, and you are done.